So a lot of you guys know of Joakim Noah as the guy who has the worst contract in NBA history. And a lot of you guys, if you're young, may be confused about why he was even given that contract. And a lot of people think, oh, Phil Jackson was an idiot for giving him the contract. And in hindsight, yes, but there's a reason why Joakim Noah got a big contract. Before we get into the main part of this video, I would just like to say, if you guys like this content, subscribe. I make basketball videos, well, 2 or 3 a week normally, but I'm going for a daily December. So far, we're kind of on track. We missed one day, but I'm gonna make up for that. And hopefully we can keep it up for the rest of the month. We are also trying to hit 25,000 subscribers by the end of the month. It's gonna be tight, but hopefully we can do it. So anyway, now let's get on to the main part of the video. In my opinion, Joakim Noah has had the biggest fall from grace of any NBA star ever. You mightn't call him a star, but for a 2 or 3 year spell, he was one. Joakim Noah was arguably the best center in basketball, not even 4 years ago. But it's true. If you guys have only watched Joakim Noah in the last few years, he's been terrible. Like, straight up, he has been terrible. But in his prime, Joakim Noah was averaging about 11.5 points, 11.5 rebounds, nearly 2 blocks per game, and close to 5 assists per game. And you might be saying, oh, that's not that much. But Joakim Noah's presence on the defensive end and the offensive end, just apart from scoring-wise, which is one thing he struggled with, was undeniable. He was the leader of a Chicago Bulls team that would consistently make the playoffs. And even in years when Derrick Rose wasn't there, and when Derrick Rose was their star, Joakim Noah was leading them consistently to the playoffs. In the 2013-2014 season, Joakim Noah was actually 4th in MVP voting. Yes, 4th in MVP voting, while averaging 12.6 points per game, 1.5 blocks, 1.2 steals, 5.4 assists, and 11.3 rebounds per game. Those stats don't scream MVP, but Joakim Noah's impact on the floor that it didn't show up in the box score was what made him such a great player. He didn't look incredibly strong, but he was deceptively strong. He didn't look incredibly quick, but he was deceptively quick. And his defense was absolutely incredible. In the 2013-2014 season, he won the Defensive Player of the Year in a landslide. Even when Roy Hibbert had arguably his best defensive season, until he just disappeared in the playoffs that year, which was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. He went from being like an all-star to not scoring for like 4 games. But I'm going off topic a little bit. But then things changed with Joakim Noah. The next season, he averaged 7.2 points per game, which is not great, to be honest. Just over 1 block per game and 9.6 rebounds per game. And then the injuries started. He had 2 surgeries in 2 seasons, and in the 2015-2016 season, he only started 2 games and averaged 4.3 points per game. Although his rebounding was still high at 8.8 rebounds per game, and he was only playing in 20 minutes per game. So then the 2016 offseason came. And you guys might call Phil Jackson crazy for giving him the contract, and in hindsight, he was crazy for giving him the contract. But think about it. If you're an NBA GM or president of basketball, whatever he was, and 2 years earlier, there was a guy who was an MVP candidate who was 4th in MVP voting and wants to sign a 4-year deal at what was a moderate enough contract. Like, don't get me wrong, it was a terrible contract, but like, it was a similar contract to what Timofey Mozgov had signed, and it was like half of what Mike Conley had signed for, so it was nowhere near the max. But at the same time, it's still a big contract and a big hit on the salary, but with the collective bargaining, it didn't seem too bad at the time. What would you do? You'd probably say, okay, and sign him up. No one realized that Joakim Noah had just seemed to have forgot how to play basketball. Joakim Noah's mid-range game was never great, but it was never absolutely terrible like it was for New York. In his prime, he shot 75% from the line. He didn't even shoot 50% from the line for the Knicks, which is crazy. His rebounding stayed okay. In limited minutes, 22 a game, he averaged 8.8 rebounds per game, which is not bad. 5 points per game, he wasn't the scorer at all, and still averaged nearly 4 assists per game. But his just overall game just seemed to vanish. You would have thought that a player who wasn't incredibly strong, even though, as I already said, he was deceptively strong, wasn't incredibly quick, would be able to play after these injuries. And physically, he probably wasn't far off. But like, it has to be mental, especially when you're looking at that free throw percentage. A drop of nearly 30 in free throw percentage is not common at all. Like, the last time I've heard of someone do that was Nick Anderson after he missed all those free throws in the playoffs. So Joakim Noah's downfall could be easily mental as much as anything. It seemed like as soon as he lost his form, rather than regaining it, he just kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And it's not looking good for Joakim Noah, who will probably spend most of this year in the NBA G League. While he's already played one game there, I know it was just to get him ready for being back in the NBA. He is the 4th choice center for the New York Knicks. There's no way he's getting in ahead of Enes Kanter. There's no way he's getting in ahead of Kyle Quinn or Willie Hernan Gomez. Joakim Noah will probably end up being a G League player this year. Being the highest paid G League player in history, but will probably end up being a G League player. And that's crazy, how within 4 years he's gone from being an MVP candidate to a G League player. In less than 4 years, actually, he's gone from being an MVP candidate, 4th in the MVP voting, to a G League player. I know a lot of people talk about Darren Williams' demise as the weirdest one they've seen in NBA history, but like even 4 years after Darren Williams was last an All-Star, when he was with the Dallas Mavericks, he still put up decent stats and didn't end up in the G League. Obviously, no one wants him right now, but no one wants Joakim Noah right now. He's just on their contract. So yeah, if there's any more massive falls from grace, please leave it in the comments. I would love to make more videos on these. So anyway, that's the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.